The rumbling is dumb.
Boo, how dare you say that? You don't know anything about Attack on Titan.
Hello and welcome to my channel. Just before I start with today's topic, I just wanted to let you know that if you see a black cat, that is Merlin. If you see an orange and white cat, that is Kill, and you're happy to say hello to them in the comments below. Now let's get right into it. The main reason I say that the rumbling is dumb is because it was so avoidable. I think the biggest issue is that honestly the absence of Erwin Smith can definitely be felt. I honestly feel like Aaron didn't have Erwin inherit the Colossal Titan not because he wanted the same armament, but more so because Erwin would have seen through this stupid plan that they had to attack Marley. Kanji, you are smart, you are a brilliant scientist, but you're no politician. Levi, you are handsome, you are strong, but you are no politician. Historia, you are beautiful, you are a queen, but you suck at leadership and should honestly not really be queen. And Aaron, you contain power, but just because you have power doesn't mean you know how to use it, so you too suck at politics. No one, and Armin, I'm sorry, you're smart, but you just lack too much experience, so you too suck at politics. The diplomacy here is just straight up garbage. It just is. I honestly don't really blame Paradise Island for sucking at diplomacy because it's always just been them. Like, they have no experience in diplomacy. So they do have to rely heavily on the anti-Marleyan association and Zeke. So why is it that I say that their attack on Marley was garbage? The thing is, I feel like they were literally given a platter of eligible allies. Like, Yelena says so herself, no one likes Marley. Everyone wants Marley out of being a superpower, because Marley is a superpower. So that would have been a perfect way to gain, like, other nations to Paradise Island's side. Is that, hey, if you aid us, like, I'll see your enemy will be destroyed. Two, Marley is in war. They are already using up resources against the nation they're fighting against in the beginning of season 4A. So obviously they will be weakened. Three, we already have an anti-Marleyan association. So clearly not all Marleyans are for the treatment of the Eldians. And they want Marley out as superpower themselves. Like, at first I was about to do a whole point on how there could be a possibility that not all Marleyans are for Marley's, like, treatment of Eldians. Primarily given that the general himself says that the Marleyan people have never seen war. And that's something they could have used to their advantage because they probably disbelieve that Eldians can actually turn the Titans. Stereotypes don't need to be facts to be believed. So all in all, not only is Marley like pretty much already busy in a war themselves, but Paradise Island already decided 4 years ahead of that they were already at war with Marley. So 4 years is a lot of time. They could have used that time to make more allies with the other nations. Speaking of allies, pretty much the only allies they have is the anti-Marleyans and the Haruza. Now, the thing with the Haruza, the main thing that pretty much ticked me off was that you have them as an ally, right? And you attack their leader. Why would you attack their leader or put their leader's like safety at harms? Because she was at the banquet they were holding. You don't do that to an ally. And I highly doubt she could have gotten out of not going primarily because that would have raised suspicion. And so I do believe they were right in attacking Marley, especially on that day at such an important event. But they honestly should not have used Titans because obviously Titans cause a lot of damage. Or if they did plan on using Titans, they should have made sure that the other nation leaders were safe. Because by, guess what, attacking, like, the place, they either killed the nation leaders or put the nation leaders at harm, thus solidifying the allied forces. The thing is, Will Tiber was declaring war, yes. He declared war. So yes, Marley versus Eldia. Or, yes, Marley versus Paradise Island, I'm sorry. But the thing is, he was urging the other nations. The other nations did not agree yet. They didn't. They were just there to be coerced into joining Marley. So they weren't even on Marley's side when Aaron attacked. But guess what? Because Aaron killed their leaders or put their leaders in harm, they were now like definitely running over to Marley. So by attacking Marley the way they do, they literally proved their enemies right. And as I noted earlier, they also pushed those who were in the middle because Will was trying to persuade them into joining him. They weren't with him yet, but they pushed them to Marley's side. And then when we get to the rumbling, like, it's going to be even more difficult to persuade them to have peace with Paradise Island because it's like, you caused all this mess. Like, it was your, like, islander that did all this damage. Why would we make peace with you still? Like, it literally makes no sense. I feel like either way, like, with or without the rumbling, you're still going to get the same end result, which is like which is dicey. Like, the rumbling doesn't guarantee peace. If it does buy peace, it only buys peace for a time. And it's very much up in the air. It could be like 5 years, 10 years, maybe a century or so, but it won't last either way. As mentioned earlier, the other nations hated Marley. So did you really think that they would want Marley to gain the Founding Titan and the Founding Titan power? Of course not. And then plus we have anti-Titan weapons coming up, so they're probably not interested in the Titan power like they would have been like 50 years ago or more. Of course, I want to make sure, I'm not saying that this definitely solidifies Paradise Island's safety, but it does like give it a better chance of not becoming enslaved again. So the question becomes like, basically, how could they have succeeded in starting war with Marley and just Marley and getting the other nations to their side? Well, I mentioned earlier, they had 4 years. I liked how they used the time to advance Paradise Island to modern technology. That was a great idea. And they were doing good in making like alliances with Haruza. But then why did they stop? Like, I understand that obviously you are taking a risk by like trying to invite other nations to stop Marley, but like, that's just a risk you're going to have to take. I think the risk would have been worth it. I mean, come on. One of the nations are literally warring with Marley. Like, so I don't see them declining to end Marley. And you could get the other nations in as well. Now, we already see with, like, Haruza's, like, ambassador that they're not the greatest people. You don't need to be friends with your allies. And so I'll see the next thing comes, well, what would I have done differently if, like, I was planning to attack Marley? Because it's good. I'm not saying they were wrong in not attacking Marley. Like, Will declared war, and then plus, they were going to attack them anyway, so it was better for them to attack them before Marley can attack them, if that makes sense. For one, I would have I think it was a good idea for like pretty much having spies on the inside. But instead of Aaron, I would have went with Mikasa and or Levi. Cause again, like you want strength on the inside, but not too obvious strength. And those two would have been the perfect people to do it. I think especially Mikasa, given that she is from like the upper family. So she could have like been with the Haruza ambassador, like getting to know everything and everyone and getting the lay of the land. And so when Will Tiger will declare war, like maybe like they had someone come up and kill him, or maybe some sort of that. Basically, make sure that you only hit Marley, like no other nations. That way they know that, oh, okay, we're safe. Or, I mean, like I said, they have 4 years, so they honestly should have made deals and, like, treaties with them, like, pretty much beforehand. That way they knew, oh, okay, like, when this happens, we need to go somewhere else. in order to avoid this mayhem. And so when it comes to the rumbling, like, I feel like it was just so forced. So, like, what I said, like, I don't see them making deals with the nations. They could honestly be like, look, help us get rid of Marley, and hey, you will be free of Marley, and you can have, like, our resources that I know Haruza wanted, like the crystal stuff. And in exchange, we want Paradise Island to be free. And maybe, like, for Eldians to not be, like, persecuted and enslaved, too. If Paradise Island cared. It doesn't seem like they really cared, so I was like, they will probably just stick with independence for Paradise Island. It's like, I highly doubt that people would even care, because like I said, anti-Titan weaponry is underway, so Titans are basically starting to become pointless. And basically, as long as Paradise Island just also agrees to not start war with the nations, and the nations agree not to start war with Paradise Island, then everything's fine. Like, there. Like, no rumbling. I feel like the rumbling, once again, was just so forced by Eren. Like, he was really like, Eldia versus everybody, and that's just not how you do diplomacy. In one of my previous videos, I say Eren is Adolf Hitler, and Eren doing that is definitely very Hitler of him. Like, Hitler, just got rid of all his alliances, and obviously that was his biggest mistake. You don't do that. In war, you need allies, and with Eren, he just decided, yeah, no, we're doing no allies, which could have been avoided if they made allies before attacking Marley. And as far as freeing Ymir, see, the biggest thing with that, I don't want to get too much in deep with that because, I don't want to spoil anything. But the thing is, I honestly don't think the rumbling was needed to free Ymir. Because, for one, I honestly don't believe Eren freed Ymir. Because he was pretty much like, girl, I'm going to set you free if you give me your Titan power. That's not free. That's like someone giving you a sample and they're like, I'll give you this sample for free if you give me your kidney. That's not free. Even though those manga readers would know, what happens at the end, I'm not even going to say anything beyond that. So I do believe you could free Ymir without, erupting the rumbling. And I know I said, it's the title of this video that the rumbling is dumb. I do think it's still something Paradise Island should still have, but it should be literally the last resort. Not only because it caused so much destruction, but it tears down the walls. After that, Paradise Island is open to attacks. Even if it does cause a lot of damage, we don't know, they can't decipher how long it would take their enemies to recuperate. It could be a lot faster than they would expect it to be.
Thank you for checking out this video. If you really enjoy this content, I will highly recommend checking out my video on Eren Yeager being Adolf Hitler. And I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below, especially if you agree or disagree with me that the rumbling was unnecessary and the plan of attacking Marley was not so good. Especially those who do know war very well, like your historians, philosophers, or whatever, what have you. Or even just enthusiasts of war. I would definitely love to hear your take on how they did the wars. Other than that, thank you and have a great day, week, month, year, decade. Bye.